You are walking down a familiar street, the sun is beginning to set, and your dog is trotting happily by your side. Suddenly, you pass a stranger, someone perfectly ordinary, dressed in casual clothes, offering a polite nod. But your dog, usually the friendliest creature you know, stops dead in their tracks. Their body goes rigid, a low rumble begins in their chest, and they fix the stranger with a gaze that feels like a warning. You feel a flush of embarrassment, quickly apologizing and pulling the leash, assuming your dog is just having an off moment, or perhaps they were startled by a shadow. But as you walk away, a cold shiver traces your spine, and you can't help but wonder if your dog saw something you didn't. What if that polite stranger wasn't ordinary at all? What if your dog just performed a psychological scan of their soul and found something dark lurking beneath the surface? We like to believe we are the masters of social intuition, but the truth is that your dog possesses a biological lie detector that is millions of years more advanced than your own. They aren't just reacting to movements. They are reading the invisible chemical and social data that a bad person cannot hide. The common assumption when a dog dislikes someone is that the person smells like another dog, or perhaps they are moving in a way that feels threatening. But the twist is that dogs aren't just looking at the person. They are watching how that person interacts with you. A groundbreaking study at Kyoto University revealed that dogs are social evaluators of the highest order. In the experiment, dogs watched as a stranger either helped their owner open a container or rudely refused to help. When the unhelpful stranger later offered the dog a treat, the dog consistently refused it. They didn't just see a person, they saw a bad actor who had violated a social pact with their human. This means that when your dog growls at someone you just met, they might be picking up on a subtle lack of reciprocity or a hidden coldness in that person's demeanor that your conscious mind has filtered out for the sake of politeness. Your dog doesn't care about social etiquette. They care about the integrity of your circle, and they can sense when someone enters it with a hollow heart. This ability to detect a bad person goes even deeper into the realm of chemistry. Imagine you are at a party, and you meet someone who seems incredibly charismatic. They are saying all the right things, but your dog refuses to go near them, instead retreating to a corner or staying firmly between your legs. You might assume your dog is just overwhelmed by the noise in the crowd. However, what is really happening is that your dog is literally smelling the person's intent. When a human is being deceptive, aggressive, or harboring ill will, their body undergoes subtle physiological shifts. Adrenaline spikes, heart rates fluctuate, and we release specific pheromones that are invisible to our noses but scream like a siren to a dog's olfactory system. To a dog, a bad person doesn't just look suspicious. They smell like a threat. They are picking up on the chemical signature of a person whose internal reality doesn't match their outward appearance. It is a moment of profound biological honesty that reminds us that while humans can use words to lie, our bodies are constantly telling the truth to the animals who love us. As you start to see your dog as this ancient, intuitive protector, it changes the way you navigate the world. You begin to realize that you aren't just walking a pet. You are walking with a guardian who sees the hidden layers of every human interaction. This shift in perspective is exactly what we explore here every week, peeling back the mystery of the canine mind to reveal the incredible depth of their loyalty. If you're starting to trust your dog's instincts as much as your own, joining our community by subscribing is your way of staying connected to the silent wisdom they offer. By following this journey, you're not just learning about dogs, but you're learning how to listen to the oldest form of communication on the planet, a language that exists in the space between two hearts. But there is an even more shocking layer to this biological lie detector. Have you ever noticed that your dog seems to distrust someone who is perfectly nice to them, but perhaps a little too eager? The common assumption is that the dog is just shy. But what is really happening is that your dog is detecting a lack of social synchronization. Dogs are masters of reading human microexpressions, the tiny, half-second muscle movements in our faces that reveal our true emotions before we can mask them. Research shows that dogs are one of the few species that can distinguish between a genuine smile and a fake one. A bad person often has a mask that doesn't quite reach their eyes, or their movements are slightly out of sync with their voice. Your dog detects this dissonance as a glitch in the social matrix. To them, a person who is pretending to be something they aren't is a person who cannot be trusted. They aren't just being shy, they are rejecting a lie. This intuition extends into the way a person treats the world around them. Think about a time you saw someone be slightly rude to a waiter or a stranger, only for them to turn around and try to pet your dog with a big, fake grin. You assume the dog will just enjoy the attention. But the twist is that dogs are eavesdroppers on human morality. They observe how people treat others even when they aren't the focus of the interaction. If a person displays a lack of empathy toward another living being, your dog registers that as a red flag. They understand that a person who is unkind to the weak or the service provider is a person who lacks the fundamental kindness required for pack safety. Your dog is performing a moral audit of everyone they meet, and they are doing it to protect you from the wolves who wear sheep's clothing. They see the character of a person long before that person has a chance to show it to you. The psychological depth of this bond becomes truly emotional when you realize that your dog's distrust isn't just a survival instinct for themselves, it is a sacrificial act for you. In canine psychology, the safe base is the owner. When your dog identifies a bad person, they often place themselves physically in front of you, or they check in with you by looking back at your face. They are checking to see if you have caught the signal. They are offering you their superior senses as a gift, hoping that you will be smart enough to listen. They aren't just being protective in a territorial sense, they are trying to preserve your peace. They know that a bad person doesn't just bring physical danger. They bring emotional chaos, and your dog's entire life is dedicated to keeping your pack in a state of equilibrium. They are the only beings that will risk their comfort to tell you a truth you might not want to hear about someone you think you like. The powerful insight that reframes everything discussed so far is the realization that your dog's ability to recognize a bad person is actually a reflection of their profound empathy for you. They aren't looking for evil in a vacuum. They are looking for anything that might hurt the person who is their entire world. Or if a person is bad for you, if they are toxic, manipulative, or drain your energy, your dog will sense your heart rate climb and your breathing tighten whenever that person is around. Over time, your dog learns that this person is a source of pain for you, and they will react to them as a threat. They don't need a scientific study to tell them someone is a bad person. They just need to feel your pulse. They are the only creatures that will love you enough to hate the things that hurt you. In the end, we have to ask ourselves, how many times have we ignored the low growl or the hesitant step of our dogs in favor of our own social politeness? We spend so much time trying to be civilized that we forget we are animals with a biological heritage of intuition. Your dog is a living bridge to that forgotten wisdom. They aren't just pets who bark at the mailman. They are highly evolved social observers who have been watching human behavior for 30,000 years. When they tell you someone isn't right, they aren't guessing. They are reading the pheromones, the microexpressions, and the social violations that the human mind is too busy to notice. They are the ultimate guardians of your soul, standing between you and the hidden intentions of the world. The next time your dog hesitates to greet someone, don't just pull the leash or offer an apology. Stop, take a breath, and look at the person through your dog's eyes. You might find that the good boy at your side is the only one in the room who truly knows who is standing in front of you. Your dog doesn't have the words to tell you someone is dangerous, but they have the honesty to never let you walk toward a shadow alone.